So the plan for today, as you can see per the thumbnail, the idea was for me to do a live stream for you guys, but unfortunately my Wi-Fi still hasn't arrived right here, so I'm not going to be able to do that. So I'm going to make a longer video, right? I'm not sure how much it's going to last, because what I have to do right now is go over the pairs that we went over yesterday, see what they're doing, Matic, XRP, and all of these crypto pairs, and then after that we're going to get into Forex as well. So we have a lot of different pairs right here, and I'm going to show you how I do my detailed analysis, starting off, from the start, from the daily time frame, and then if we see an opportunity, we move on to the 4-hour time frame, and then we just keep moving in that way, right? So if that makes sense, and if this is something that you're going to enjoy, well, sit back, relax, and let's do this video together. Now, first and foremost, we have crypto pairs, or let me just get into my green list first of all to see what's interesting when it comes to crypto. Now, Bitcoin on the daily time frame still hasn't made any movements, and as I said yesterday, we're either looking to move up slightly or we're looking to move down into the 10K level. So it all depends on where this break is going to happen from this zone right here. Now, that's pretty much it when it comes to Bitcoin, right? There's nothing else that we can do right now except for let the market do its thing and just wait up and see what's going to happen. We have Algorand, right, which I also talked about in yesterday's video. We did break the previous lower high, which is a very good sign, and currently are creating a correction pattern. So there is potential for more upside when it comes to Algo. Now, Ethereum is also sort of consolidating right now. We have this sort of a triangle or a wedge formation or something along those lines, and it all depends on where we're going to break out. So if we break out towards the downside, we're most likely moving more down. If we break up towards the upside, then we're most likely moving more upwards. Now, we have Polkadot, which is also pretty interesting. We're almost at the peak of this large downtrend line. And if we do break it, we have potential for price to move up. But if we do break below, then, it's just going to be a bloodbath when it comes to Polkadot. And we're probably moving down into the $4.6 or $4.5 mark. So that's when it comes to Polkadot. And we have Avalanche next up, which we did take a short on maybe even a week ago. It was quite 2 weeks ago or something. And it's moving quite well, right? It's looking bearish at this point from the start, from the entry point. But it's also looking bearish when it comes to, this area right here. Let me just plot it out for you. So this, if we make a break towards the downside, is going to be very bearish, and we're very likely to move more down into the $10 level. So that's Avalanche. We have Solana as well, which is right here. It has a large head and shoulders pattern. I'm just recapping what I told you yesterday, so you can watch yesterday's video if you want to, just to get a glimpse of all of these crypto pairs. Today, I'm just updating you on what's going on here so that you can see my detailed analysis when it comes to these Forex pairs once I start doing that as well, right? Solana, head and shoulders pattern, looking bearish if we do break this level. Ripple, looking bullish still on the 4-hour time frame. We did not take any positions because we are still not seeing any reversal pattern from right here. So as you can see on the 4-hour time frame, what I was waiting for was a break and then a retracement of the next candle and a break of the previous candle's high, which is not what happened, right? We just saw some blue candles, then we saw some green candles and red candles. And basically what I would wait for right now is to see if this 50-period moving average keeps supporting the price, right? Especially if we do create like a double bottom or something and then break the previous lower high, which would be a perfect confirmation for more upside on Ripple. So this is something that I'm going to be waiting for. It's most likely not going to happen today. It may happen tomorrow, day after tomorrow, but it's in my watch list. So I will update you as soon as it happens. Now, Matic is the last one. And as I'm nearing the end of my crypto analysis right here, and we're going to move on to Forex as well, I want you to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it so far, and if you think that I'm going to give you some valuable opportunities in the next few days, because I can assure you I definitely will. Well, not definitely, because the market sometimes just doesn't really look too good, and there's nothing you can do about that except for force trades, which is a very bad idea. But, in general, I always find a few very nice opportunities every single week that we can all take a profit from. So Matic being the last one, we do see this 50-period moving average, which I did talk about in yesterday's video. So please check that out if you haven't already. Basically, if we move down from this zone of support, we have space to move into the $0.5 level. But if we keep moving up and if we make a break towards the upside and hold the support from this 50 period moving average, which is just going to continue, well, in that case, we're moving bullish into the $1.5 level. So that's it about crypto, and let's start moving into my detailed Forex analysis. Before I start, let me just tell you the reason why I'm trading Forex and crypto at the same time. Well, it's very simple. I get more opportunities trading two different markets. So that's the whole philosophy behind it. And as you can see on the right in my watch list, I have all of these pairs set up as per the first pair. So we have Euro pairs, we have GBP pairs, Australian dollar pairs, New Zealand dollar pairs, USD pairs, CAD pairs, and Swiss franc and Japanese yen. And then in addition, we have the US 500, which I talked about in the past a few times. And we also have US oil, which is, oil prices around the world, because both of these have a correlation or a negative correlation with these pairs right here. Lastly, we have the VIX, or the volatility index, which I also keep track of, over time, and also gold and silver, which sometimes show a good opportunity. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just start my analysis, right? We can see the Euro CAD on the daily time frame is on a fat zone of support. And from here on out, what am I going to look for? Well, I'm going to look for long opportunities since it is on a large zone of support. So what we can see on the 4-hour time frame, potentially is somewhat of a uptrend starting to form, higher highs and higher lows, right? Rather than lower highs and lower lows as we saw in the past. So I could say that, first of all, I plotted my target right here because it is a significant zone and it is almost at the $1.4 level, which is a psychologically significant zone, obviously, because 1.4 is a round number and traders like to see this round number. And what I'm going to look for is a potential move down into this trend line once again, some sort of a support to form or a reversal pattern, or better yet, if we just formed an outright flag right here and then broke it like towards the upside. So if we saw something like this happen, then this would be a good opportunity for me to enter towards more upside. So what I'm going to wait for is something along these lines to form to target more upside into this predetermined level up there. So what I'm going to do with this pair, I'm going to mark it orange because it is cool, but it's not ready yet, right? It's not ripe for me to take a trade. And even on the lower time frames, we're not going to see anything interesting because we are waiting for a formation to form for more upside. So let's move on. Now, Euro AUD, we did say that we have potential to move bullish, and that's what we started to do. So on the daily time frame, it's a pretty ugly chart, right? Nothing to see here except for a large double bottom forming, which means that we are going to be looking for upside opportunities. Now, we are also at a zone of resistance and support that is quite significant, and we are breaking above it currently. So what are we going to do with this information? Well, first of all, I plotted already, I did this last week. I plotted a few targets for my trade. First one is the intermediate sort of level of support, resistance that we can find right about here. And the second one is like just a second level up there, an extension of what I did previously. So you got to keep everything in mind, right? And what we see right now on the 4-hour time frame is a break of this zone, but it's not looking too clean, right? Let's say if this candle right here broke, so if it made a wick down like it did, and then broke the previous high and continued moving bullish, then I would probably be tempted to take a long position, right? But the thing is, it wicked up first and then it started moving down, and then it did this, so it's not really the trade that I'm looking for at this moment in time. So I guess we're gonna have to wait for price to break this level right here, and this just doesn't look like the best possible opportunity for me. Now, what I like to do sometimes is, first of all, enter the US 500 and see what it is doing before I review my other pairs, so I can see if we can spot any potential opportunities. Now, what can we see on the US 500? Well, we can see some downside, but it looks like we're going to see some support forming and the market being pushed up a little bit before CPI news hits this week, which I definitely am going to live stream. So what can we see with this movement up? If the S&P 500 is moving towards the upside in the near term, which we can confirm on the lower time frames as we see somewhat of a reversal pattern and a divergence in the relative strength index forming, well, we can look to long AUD and NZD pairs. Why? Well, because AUD and NZD have a positive correlation with the S&P 500, which basically means that once, you know, the S&P 500 is moving up, the US, the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar also move up. Now, that's my cat, she's doing some weird stuff. But on the other hand, Japanese yen, US dollar, and Swiss franc are negatively correlated with the S&P 500, which basically means that when the S&P is moving up, these pairs are moving down, so we can look to short these pairs as well. So now that we have that in mind, let's try to see what's going to happen. And at the same time, if we see euro against the Australian dollar, we're not going to take any long opportunities because the Australian dollar is looking to appreciate in the near term. So this is something that does not interest me at this point. Euro CHF, very interesting pair. We talked about this one last week, and we are creating somewhat of a very nice correction pattern on the 30-minute, 1 hour, and other time frames out there. So on the 4-hour time frame, I believe that if we do see a close of this 4-hour candle that's very bullish, and the next 4-hour candle making a wick down and breaking the previous high, that could be a nice entry for a long position. So I'm going to mark this pair with blue, right? Or you know what, I'm just going to do it orange at the start. I'm going to mark all of my Forex pairs orange, and then later on I'm going to do another run through them all and see which pairs are the best ones. Now next up we have Euro NZD, which also, you know, is forming somewhat of a formation, but at the same time, we don't want to be shorting NZD right now because of the US 500 situation. Now, here's the thing. If the US 500 just decides to break below this immediately, then I can switch my bias and then I can go to short AUD and NZD. And then those two euro pairs that you saw here on top that I showed you, so Euro AUD and Euro NZD, they're going to become valid, and I'm going to start looking for long positions, because when you go long on Euro NZD, that means you're shorting the New Zealand dollar, okay, against the euro. Now moving on, you know, we have Euro USD, which, you know, on the 4-hour, nothing too interesting. On the daily time frame, nothing too interesting. On the hourly time frame, it's somewhat of a correction pattern, but not really, right? Because we can see both a head and shoulders, you know, and we also see somewhat of a correction from this side. So I'm just going to skip this pair because it looks ugly. And when it looks ugly, there's no reason for me, you know, to be looking for anything when it comes to that pair. Euro GBP, huge impulse. I don't want to be part of this market. It is very volatile. There's nothing really being shown. No opportunities. So I'm just going to skip it. Nothing interesting right there. Euro Japanese yen. Is this interesting? Well, we should be looking to long euro against the Japanese yen if the US 500 is moving up. And unfortunately, the market is not giving us any nice opportunities. So what we can see is a potential target with this high right here that was reached in the past, exactly at the $150 level. But we're going to have to break this huge zone right here if we want to, you know, keep moving towards more upside. And the only way, sorry about that, the only way that we can do that is if we break above this level. And is that going to happen? Well, we don't know, but it's not at the level quite yet. And the level does look kind of dirty as well, so I'm going to skip this pair as well. Now, GBP CAD, fuck off CAD. So we have GBP CAD as well, which is kind of ugly. We had a huge impulse down due to news last week, and then an impulse up, and this is a market that, once again, I want to stay out of if possible, but we do see somewhat of an opportunity forming. So let me just check this out right here. Well, we have a zone of support / resistance, and we have some clean candles towards the left. That means unfilled liquidity. So if we do see price breaking these lows right here, it could be a very nice short opportunity. So let's take a look on the lower time frames. On the hourly, we still need to break this zone right here. So I believe that if on the hourly time frame, we can make a break of this level right here, so a strong bearish candle, it will be representing a good short opportunity on GBP CAD, so I'm going to mark this pair as well. Now, it's even better if this break happens on the 4-hour time frame. So what we need to do on the 4-hour time frame is break this low right here and close below it. So if price closes below this low right here, or, you know, should I just move my, I'm just going to move my rectangle. So if we close right below this rectangle right here, we will be looking for a short opportunity. So how's that going to look? Well, we're going to see a close, and then we're going to see the next candle make a wick up and break the low of the previous candle. And if that happens, I'm going to enter a short on this pair. So how's that going to look? Well, something along the lines of this. My stop loss will be above the candle that's supposed to close below this zone, and my target will be all the way down in this area. So this is a good opportunity in my opinion. Now, GBP AUD, we don't want to be longing this pair because of what I said about the US 500. Currently, nothing really interesting is forming unless this turns into somewhat of a longer correction pattern that can be broken out of. But right now, nothing interesting is happening. GBP CHF, pretty interesting, but nothing too cool right here, except if we do make a break of this correction pattern. So something along the lines of this. If we break towards the upside, it's pretty similar to the Euro CHF pair as well, right? As you can see, they're both forming somewhat of a correction pattern. So it seems like we are seeing a pattern that the Swiss franc is starting to weaken against the Euro and against the British pound. So let's keep both of these in the watch list and move on, just for now. So next up, we have GBP NZD, very ugly chart, nothing happening here on any time frame. Moving on. GBP USD. So as you can see, GBP CAD is looking quite bearish, right? And we have GBP USD at the same time, which is forming pretty much the same formation, right? It's very, very similar, perhaps even nicer, because we already did make a break of these lows right here. So let's just look at the lower time frames. On the hourly, yeah, once again, we still need to break this zone right here if we want to be moving more down. So how's that going to look? Well, our target, a potential target would be, well, either here or all the way down here. Let's just extend our target just for the time being. And if we do see price on the 4-hour time frame breaking this low right here, closing below it, or, to be honest, we don't even need to close below the low. We just need to make a strong bearish close, which we already did make. Now, I don't know how I feel about this red candle right here. So I don't know if I would be taking this trade, but I'm going to put it in the watch list and I'm just going to show you something real quick. So when we have GBP USD and GBP CAD and they both look short, we need to see which currency is stronger, the Canadian dollar or the US dollar. So how does that work? Well, we move into the USD CAD pair. And what do we see right here? Do we see some upside? Do we see downside? We can see that the US dollar is currently quite a lot stronger than the Canadian dollar, and we still have some more space towards the upside. So moving on to the 4-hour time frame, what do we see? We don't see a relative strength index divergence. Well, we do right here, but, well, I guess we don't. I mean, sometimes the market just doesn't really give you anything, right? Sometimes we could just say that the US dollar is stronger because it has been moving up in an uptrend this whole time. So we can take that as info that GBP USD may be a better short opportunity than GBP against the Canadian dollar. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to wait for the next 4-hour to close. So for this candle to close. Why? Well, because I don't trust it quite yet, right? I don't trust this little retracement right here. On the 15-minute time frame, I do not trust this little candle. So I'm going to wait for an additional confirmation on the 4-hour time frame, which means I'm waiting for this candle to make a strong bearish close, right? Just to be strong and bearish, and then the next candle to make a slight wick up and then break the lows of the previous two candles. So that's my outlook on GBP USD. GJ, interesting, pretty similar formation to GBP USD, but it's not as clean towards the left-hand side, so I'm going to skip it. AUD CAD, well, this one, we did say that it is going to move, kind of bearish, and it is, right? But we missed the opportunity on all time frames. Daily time frame made a perfect move down, little wick up, and then a break of the previous low, and a good entry point would have been right here with a stop loss above the current candle, and targeting more downside. But what do you know? Sometimes we miss an opportunity before it happens, and it's perfectly fine. So AUD CHF also, what can we see right here? Nothing too interesting, pretty ugly chart. AUD JPY, pretty ugly chart once again. Maybe on the hourly time frame or something, we do see some more movement down on the 4-hour time frame. Well, it is looking bearish. We did say that it's going to break this level and then potentially continue moving down, but there was simply no entry opportunity for me around these zones. And the target is still all the way down here, but I didn't take any trades here as well. AUD NZD, ugly chart, to be honest. What we can do is plot a correction pattern and just wait for a breakdown, but I'm just going to skip it because I don't like how it looks. Then next up, we have the AUD-USD pair, which is just kind of moving very, very bearish. And there's nothing that we can do right here for a high probability entry of any sorts. We have the next pair, NZD-CAD. So this is how I do my analysis. You know, you just fly through the pairs, you see what's good, you see what's not good, and then you start to narrow them down and find the best possible opportunity. So nothing there. NZD-CAD, we're at a zone of support. On the lower time frames, what are we seeing? Nothing too significant. Potentially some upside, but no real good entry opportunity, because what I like to see is these clean candles towards the left hand side that signify there is unfilled liquidity that could be filled right now with a potential move towards more downside. NZD-CHF, nothing. JPY, this one's looking okay. We do have a correction pattern, right, that was broken out of, but at the same time, it's not really clean on the left-hand side. So this is not a trade that I would be willing to take. NZD-USD also, so we can see that the US dollar is strengthening pretty much against everything else at this point. And well, on the 4 hour, nothing too significant. On the daily time frame, we do have a little bit more unfilled liquidity right here. So NZD-USD could be a solid opportunity, but having in mind that the US 500 is looking kind of bullish at this point, or at least not completely bullish, at least it's you know, unbiased, right? Then I'm not going to be shorting the USD against the New Zealand dollar, because this pair directly is correlated with the US 500, right? So when the US 500 is moving up, NZD-USD is moving up. When the US 500 is moving down, NZD-USD is moving down as well. USD-CAD, well, nothing too interesting right here. USD-CHF, we did say that we could go into this target. Okay, but no opportunities. USD-JPY, well, we did have a clean candle right here, but it was impossible to catch the move, and I just didn't take any trades. CAD-CHF, if we do break this level right here, we could be moving up, so I'm going to keep that in the watch list. CAD-JPY right here is ugly, and we have CHF-JPY, which is also kind of ugly on the hourly time frame. So what we're going to do right now is take a little look at oil, which is looking bullish right now, and we have some clean candles towards the left hand side. So oil, you know, technically could be moving more bullish into this level right here, around the $97 per barrel. And the US 500 is still kind of consolidating, but looking more bullish than bearish at this point, since we are at a strong zone of support. Now, let's see what we have from the watch list. We have Euro against the Canadian dollar, which could potentially move up, but you know, we're still waiting for this whole thing to happen because we are waiting for a 4 hour opportunity. So we're going to leave that in the orange section. Euro CHF, well, we're also kind of waiting for the 4 hour to close bullish and some other indicators, right? I don't want only a close of the 4 hour up because there's so much consolidation right here. You can just get stopped out really quickly. And I don't like that. I want to see a clean candles to the left, clean break, clean candles, clean wick down, and a clean break of the previous high to enter. So Euro CHF can also stay in the orange list. GBP CAD looks like a great opportunity at this point. GBP CHF also something that we are going to be waiting to happen right here. So I'm going to leave that in the orange. GBP USD also fantastic opportunity, and CAD CHF something that we are going to be waiting for. So the two pairs out of these 30 pairs that I took a look at right now are GBP USD, so the British pound against the US dollar, which I'm going to mark blue, and the British pound against the Canadian dollar. So now let's move into the blue list, and right now you saw live how I narrowed down 30 pairs into just 2 pairs that are ripe for an opportunity. So if you enjoyed the video so far, and if any of you actually watched it this far, well, subscribe to the channel because these may be winning opportunities, winning trades, right? So first of all, GBP USD. What do we see right here? Let's do another analysis, right? We have a head and shoulders pattern that was kind of broken out of, right? I don't really know how to draw this neckline because it's not too clean at this moment. But what we do see is a zone of support. So this is a strong zone of support right here. And if we want to move more down, we need to have a candle that closes below this area. Now, what time frame are we going to be looking for this candle? Well, 1 hour is okay. I would prefer either the 4-hour or the 2-hour candle to close below this level. So if we see the 4-hour candle closing below this area and the next 4-hour making a wick up first and then breaking the low of the previous candle, I'm going to enter a short position here, targeting more downside. So this might look something like this, but don't take my word for it, because we're going to wait for the opportunity to form before doing anything. GBP CAD on the other hand, well, right now on the hourly time frame, what can we see? Well, pretty much the same thing, right? We can see that the price is, kind of consolidating around this area. This is a strong zone of support. And if you want to keep moving down, we need a close of, the 4-hour time frame at least underneath this area. So what we're going to do is, for both of these trades, we're going to wait for the 4-hour time frame to make a close below this area. Now, you know what? Potentially, if the 2-hour or the 1-hour makes a strong close below, a nice wick up, and then a movement down, I will be tempted to take a short position. So this is not something that's confirmed yet. I need to be looking at this chart, which I will be, in the next few hours. I'm going to monitor the chart, see what happens, and potentially enter short. So that's it for today's video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and lastly, I am not a financial advisor. You should do your own due diligence before investing into anything in the crypto world. I'm simply showing you the opportunities that I see in the market right now and that I may or may not take advantage of myself. But you should not listen to advice of anybody out there on the internet. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.